Hi, Dr. Lilly here with Family Vision Optical and Rejuvenation Dry Eye Center. I'm with Dr. Amanda Bancroft, Dr. B, as I like to call her. She has been an amazing addition to our office, raised the level of care, but more importantly to me, she's an even better person. And I've really had the pleasure of getting to know her over the past 2 years, and I think our patients need to get to know her as well. So we're going to do a little interview with Dr. B and find out all the little nuances that I've learned over the past 2 years. So Dr. B, you've been with the practice for a little over a year now.
Yes.
What have you noticed about seeing patients in our area?
I mean, first and foremost, I feel like their commitment to preventative health is super important. They care about it. We don't even have to bring that up. It's something they initiate. They're receptive to healthy lifestyle changes, which is critical for ocular health and wellness.
Awesome. So you worked in other states too, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. How is Michigan compared to the other states you worked in?
Do you ever hear of the West Michigan or Middle West, the nice feel?
Yes, yes.
That's exactly what I noticed.
That's what, I'm from here, so I agree. I think we're the nicest people ever.
Yeah.
Now, other places, Virginia and Pennsylvania. Michigan winners versus Virginia or Pennsylvania winners.
Pennsylvania and Michigan, very similar.
Okay.
Thank goodness. So it wasn't a huge adjustment for me, but Virginia, barely any snow.
Gotcha.
Had its perks.
Sounds nice.
But good seasons in Michigan.
That's great. Awesome. So what made you fall in love with optometry and what excites you about it today?
So I got my first pair of glasses and contact lenses when I was in 3rd grade. I didn't realize how blurry the world could actually be until I put on the glasses. It made such a difference in school, learning, and I eventually started working with my local optometrist in high school. So I was a technician. And then after that, I watched her impact that she made with her patients. I mean, every single day. Her quality of life, she had a family. She was able to see them on the weekends. She had low stress. And I realized I wanted to make that impact for patients for me one day.
Which is awesome. So that's one of the things that I think I love about having the practice for the past 15 years is you build those relationships. You've built community of people that you see year after year. Have you had a chance yet to have patients come back and start to build those?
Yes. It's an exciting thing, sticking and being in the practice for we're coming up on year 2. Seeing them back and just recognizing them, talking about their families, their career changes.
For sure.
It's awesome to establish the relationships. So.
And the cool thing for you, you're not quite there yet, but I have patients that were little kids that are now like adults and have starting their own families. It's really cool to be part of that. And we're pumped to have you be part of that journey with us too. Yeah. So, because I'm getting older, right? So we need people to know. So this is something that when I found it out, I, talked to the other staff. I'm like, would you expect your eye doctor to be part of a bee club? What is this about and how did that come to be?
Yeah, so Saturday mornings, my husband and I sometimes go to the farmer's market and we were walking down, we saw the Grand Rapids Bee Club table. We were like, we need to get over there. There was a beehive set up. So interested, we went over. They explained that the impact that the honeybees make on truly about 1/3 of the food that we eat. So
really?
Yes, 1/3 of the food you eat is part of the honeybees' action. They invited me to come to the educational meetings once a month. And now I have my own bees. I helped establish the Grand Rapids Community College. They have a beehive there. And it's been a really great journey.
That's awesome. So did you have a passion for being in the environment before or where did that come from?
Yeah, so I try to be sustainable in general. I utilize, holistic approach with my own health.
Okay.
And I've heard the benefits of honey. So it was a combination of health, wellness, making an impact on the community. And I met a lot of great people that were also beekeepers. Awesome.
I'm sure that when you talk to the bee community, there's people that are passionate about what they're doing, right?
Absolutely.
Which if I, can say that's you to a T for what you do.
Yeah.
So you get around a group of passionate people and I think you're gonna do well. Yes, absolutely. That's why we work so well together, right? Just working to have that impact that you can do it in your day-to-day life.
Absolutely.
That's really fun. So if every patient could hear one thing about their health, from you, what would it be?
It's hard to pick one, but I always tell my routine patients when they come in every year, healthy body, healthy eyes. taking the action of making the lifestyle choices that really makes an impact on ocular health, ocular wellness.
I agree wholeheartedly. Again, I said one thing, so healthy body, healthy eyes. What's one or two things that you think are most important to having that healthy body?
Yeah. Not talked about enough, I feel like, is nutrition, right? Every single meal we eat is an opportunity to thrive and fuel the body, right? Each and every day.
Right, absolutely. I think in addition to that, moving.
Yeah,
Just a
movement.
little bit of movement. And, it doesn't take a lot
Right.
to be active.
Right.
And we're hitting the great time of Michigan that you can get out, be active. Movement goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Have you seen any of your patients with those two things, just diet and movement? Have you seen any changes with just those two things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, diabetic exams in general, working with their sugar, getting movement after a meal. I've seen patients finally back for that second time, and they're excited to actually share, hey, this is what I've done this year, because we've talked about making those changes. So
And being on a journey together, and someone that kind of gets that, because there's so much and you can get overwhelmed. If we can simplify it as simple as nutrition and move,
yes.
you know what I mean? And helping with that. And I know you have a passion for what nutrition looks like.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to expound on about that?
Sure. I mean, everybody has a journey. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. It's not going to be perfect. It's personalized, right? So we're not going to say the same protocol for everyone, right? Everyone has different things that they're really good at committing to. We all have our weaknesses. Just working on each of those is a big part of it.
And that's one of the things that I've really admired about you. And I've tried to do it, but you are to a T of where's the patient at and how can we meet them there? Because there's a lot of cookie cutter stuff out there.
Right.
You have this is what you do. And we both try to be more customized to our patients. And
Sure.
you've done a great job of, meeting the patient where they're at and little wins. It doesn't have to be all in one scoop. And as you've seen over the course of the past year and a half, seeing patients come back, those little things make a big difference when done consistently.
Yeah, and just reminding them when they have those little wins, it's bigger than they think. So,
Yeah,
and they appreciate that. It's exciting.
Yeah, and which is the cool thing too is, even though they're doing the work, we're part of the journey.
Yeah, yes, yeah, and it's a long journey.
It is, and we want and that all goes back to healthy body, healthy eyes.
Absolutely.
All right, so some rapid fire questions.
Ooh.
Early riser or night owl?
I'm going to say neither. I like my rest, and I have 2 Bengal cats, so not by choice. Sometimes I do have to be an early riser.
All right. Beach or mountains?
Definitely beach. I love being barefoot in the sand.
Contacts or glasses?
Clearly contact lenses. I'm
Yeah.
always in my contacts.
Coffee, hot or cold?
Definitely hot. Hot beverage. Cold's not an option.
Metal or plastic frames?
I'm going to go metal.
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 Yeah, shocker.
Yep, nose pads actually I like.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cabin in the woods or hotel downtown?
Definitely a cabin. I love the outdoors, making a fire. That's the vibe I like.
Michigan's a place for you.
Yeah, it's perfect.
You're meant to be.
Yes.
Favorite season?
Late summer, early fall. Love the transition, the leaves, taking a hike, perfect weather.
Domestic or international travel?
I love to travel. I'm going to go international.
International.
Yes. Long flights, totally worth it. Love seeing just something new every time.
What about contacts on an airplane?
Not recommended.
No.
Not.
Yeah.
Especially for long flights.
Do you break the rules? Dr. B.
I'm pretty good.
All right. Can you share a moment at Rejuvenation Dry Center that reminded you why you do this?
Sure. I had a patient that came in after her dry eye series and therapies. And at the end of the exam, I asked how things were going and asked if she had any questions on the next steps. And she said, I don't really have any questions, but I just want to say that I don't have to think about my eyes every single day anymore. And thank you for being a part of that. She said that I wish I would have found you sooner, truly. So I feel like we make a bigger impact than we think, outside of the exam room. So she stuck with me, and I know she won't be the last patient that's like that. So that's exciting to be a part of it. Very rewarding.
For sure. How many patients do you think of, it's just something we take for granted, but think about their eyes every day?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, constantly when they come in, they ask, what can I do to keep my eyesight? They really care and are receptive to hearing what can they do.
Absolutely. With a patient that wishes they would have found you sooner, a lot of patients have apprehension or they're nervous. What is one thing you would say to a patient to kind of put them at ease before they get seen for an eye exam or a tear film and lid evaluation?
Yeah, well, I mean, even people when they first come in the exam, they say, man, I'm nervous. What are you going to be doing in the exam? And just putting them at ease that, this is all things that are, non-invasive. These are things that are comfortable. I explain it to them, what we're doing beforehand, so there's no surprises. Usually when I'm putting, eye drops in their eyes, they think, oh, this is not going to be good. And after we do it, they say, wow, I didn't really feel that. So they're pleasantly surprised, but also at ease.
Absolutely. With patients that are really nervous, what extra steps do you take besides explaining stuff to just make sure they feel comfortable and realize that the eye doctor is a little different than the other doctors they've seen?
Yeah. Really just starting off by just getting to know them as a person makes them feel more comfortable.
For sure. And I think when I've sat back and heard what your patients have said and how they communicate, a common theme is that you listen, you hear them.
Yes.
Why do you think that's an important part of the care you provide?
Usually when they do the talking and I hear their problems, it helps me come up with the solutions that we need, right? Just diagnosing things, looking in the microscope, I feel like that's not enough. We need to hear, coming from them. I think it makes more of an impact of what's the next steps for their eye health journey.
Yeah, and at our office, we've made a big point of not being a volume type practice. We want time allotted to spend with the patient, and you take full advantage of that.
Definitely.
And I think that time spent with the patient is just as important as the exam itself, like you said, clinically and diagnostically. Is there any advice to doctors out there of how you can still connect with the patient but be clinical at the same time? What do you kind of go back to from your personal experience as a patient?
Yeah. I just think about their personal journey, where are they at today? Where are they going to be at in the future? Are they changing careers? How's their sleep? What's their family situation? These are all things that impact their health. I think we should know about it and ask them about it.
It's more than just eyes, isn't it?
It really is. It's a whole body approach. Whole body approach for sure.
Awesome. That's awesome. What patient experience that you've had at Family Vision Optical has really stuck with you and kind of stood out?
Yeah. Well, when he had a routine exam with a teenager, him and his mom were in, and everything was great. Eyes were healthy, didn't need glasses. And I talked about just what can we do preventative? How can he have healthy eyes the next year and the next year? And we're talking about healthy lifestyle habits, nutrition, being active. He's in sports, not eating processed food, something that's tougher than we think, but we can do it. The mom she was really appreciative. She said, wow, you're really passionate about this stuff. And thank you for starting early and talking to my son about this. So that stuck with me. I mean, we try and really be preventative here, and it's something that I love talking about, right? I'm going to see these patients years to come, so I want them to have healthy eyes all through that journey.
Absolutely. And I think me being a parent of 4 kids, one of the things that's hardest for me is my voice gets drowned out a lot. So the fact that you can help us parents in the journey of letting their kids know what is a healthy way to, not only live your life, but keep your eyes functioning at the best they can. I think that's really awesome. Do you have any experiences, young to old? How do you connect with the 5-year-old and still the 95-year-old? How do you do that?
I feel like it's because I'm getting to know and asking who they are, what do they love? And then I'm interested to hear, what makes them them. So it's more of a relatable situation that way.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think that's how healthcare should be, right?
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I think every eye doctor, we're lucky enough that we have a moment where we just had a real big impact on a patient's life. Can you share a story or an experience that you had where you felt you had a huge impact on a patient's life and you knew it from the get-go. It was cool.
Yeah. Imagine that you have to rely on eye drops and they have to be with you wherever you go. Imagine you're driving down the road and you have to pull over to the side of the road because your vision's blurry. You need to put drops in. That was a patient that came and saw me. And after we went through what happened to be dry eyes, went through a plan together and came back for a follow-up. And the patient was almost in tears, happy tears, which is great, but they didn't have to rely on their eye drops. That's all they depended on, right? Think about that. They had that every day. So.
And I'm assuming she saw other eye doctors before you.
Oh, sure. That's what I think is so relieving for them. They can finally say, I don't have to depend on my eyes. I don't have to think about my eyes every day.
What do you think you were able to see that the other doctors might have missed or not really addressed in that situation?
We took a root cause approach. I mentioned, drops can be something that are more of a Band-Aid, right? We need to look at the whole picture. For that patient, they had stressful job. They're on the computer screen. These all impact a blink, right? So it's glad that we took a root cause.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I get most in what you're sharing with that patient is some of these patients are doing their due diligence. They're trying to see doctors and they're getting not the results they want. Sometimes it takes someone to sit down and actually listen to them versus give them solutions. And I think that's what we try to do here, but you are amazing at listening to them and finding out what's going to impact them versus this is the protocol that we follow. And I think that's awesome. Do you find it overwhelming trying to make a personalized plan for each patient?
No, I love that. So why not meet them with where, what do they need, right? It makes them happier. It makes them more successful. It makes, it's rewarding to me. So it's great to have a more personalized approach.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely a passion that I've seen with you. Yeah. So outside of work, what would you describe as a perfect day?
I would say slow morning, hot cup of coffee with my Bengal cats, with my husband. We go out, kayak or paddleboard or outside being active in the sun, go to Lake Michigan, walk down the beach. That's my perfect scenario.
That is awesome. How many times in the past year do you get your perfect morning?
I would try to do it pretty regularly, right?
Yeah.
So.
Now, your husband, how many times do you think he gets the perfect morning?
He gets so many more days than I do, but we make it work.
That's awesome. I always feel like the significant other is the one that's getting the perfect days, but we're
shorter end of this day.
Absolutely. Right? So now that we've got to know Dr. B a little bit more, when you come into the office that she's going to personalize her plan for you. She's going to ask for that hot cup of coffee, but more than anything, she cares about you and your health, and she is here to be part of this community. So make sure you ask her about her bees and any nutrition tips. She's a plethora of information. We are so excited to have her be part of this practice and, more importantly, part of the community.